Guys, I will put the timestamps below in the description if you are watching this after it's live. But thank you for joining if you're watching it live. Welcome to the stream. Always good to have a live discussion, my friend. I'm super excited for this. I am super excited for this. This is something I think will just be a massive asset to the game. It will be nothing but good things. I know there'll be some hardcore players that maybe don't want companions in the Elder Scrolls Online, but I think overall it's going to be a very positive thing because the majority of players play this game solo as an MMO. So this is going to be nothing but a good thing. Let me know if you disagree though. I would love to hear your thoughts, man. What's up, man? How's it going? Did you know they made a game named after you? Literally, I had the name before them. But ESO is thankfully not a copyright owned name. I think there's actually a pharmaceutical company named ESO as well. But luckily no one owns it. Because I'd definitely lose that legal battle. I keep trying out the Elder Scrolls Online, but I can't quite make myself like it. The fact I have to pay for other parts of the map is annoying. Yeah, I mean, the base game is huge alone, for sure. So I don't think it's that much of a setback, to be honest. But I understand where you're coming from, for sure. But, you know, you're coming to a game that's like got like literally 10 years or so of content. Actually, it's less than 10 years, isn't it? But, you know, this game has been growing constantly, and they've been adding content to it continuously. So it makes sense that, you know, you have to pay for some of it. But I guess if you buy like the new DLC, they literally give you all the previous DLC included in the price. So it's probably like the best deal in terms of, you know, per hour gameplay you're going to get for your money of any other new game. You know, if you've not played the Elder Scrolls before, it's a pretty bang on deal. Though I would recommend trying the base game to see if you like it initially. I hope you find this game. Oh, awesome, dude. That's amazing. You know, it's definitely, you know, it's an MMO. It's different to the single player games, but there's still a lot of it that I enjoy just from a lore perspective. I've got to be in the mood for it though. I actually played some Skyrim as well today, guys. I was recording some dank new mod for you, which I'm actually really excited about. It genuinely brought back joy to like get into that game again. I took a break from it, I know. Please, I use your mod list on Skyrim SE with NAT. I have a flicker with fire spells. Is there a fix? Probably it could be your installation order or a conflict. Are you in Vortex? Best place to ask is Ultimate Immersion's server, because it might be a issue he's already come across. We all wish the Elder Scrolls 6 was closer than it was, but hey, it's not. Sadly, my friend, sadly. But it's coming, you know? We're almost there. So they've got the live stream will begin shortly. So as soon as they go live, I'll just flick over and we'll start watching together. I mean, one amazing thing about the Elder Scrolls though is the music. The music is so good. They got bang on with that, didn't they? Oh, thanks, dude. You know, if any of you in the chat want to start out as a YouTuber, yesterday I released a video. If you go to my channel, probably hasn't been suggested to you because it's not really the kind of thing I usually do, but I literally made a video specifically about a secret channel I made on YouTube and how I got it from 0 views to 5 million views in the space of 50 days. And honestly, it is something you can replicate. I didn't tell anyone else about it. I purely did it just by making content. Most people don't even know who I am on that channel. That obviously now I've told everyone about it, so a lot of people do in yesterday's video. But I recommend going to my channel and checking that video out if you want to get started on YouTube, because there's some core principles in that video that I shared that I think will help you guys out. Or I hope so, you know? Glad you saw it, man. How's it going, Taser? Yeah, our Discord recently got hacked as well, which is really sad. I think I have linked our Discord in the description. If you do want to check it out, you're more than welcome. It was sad to see an attack on a community that we spent so many years building, though. Yeah, pretty depressing that anyone would do that, you know. I think a lot of people like who hack stuff and like affect communities like that, they just look at it as a number, like me as a YouTuber. Like, people look at me as a big sort of business, but it's just me. It's like a real person behind the camera. Sometimes what you guys say in the comment section genuinely hurts my feelings, but I never tell you. And it's the same with Discord, you know, like these hackers don't realize that they actually genuinely affect people's lives. I mean, obviously, I wasn't making any money from that server. It was just purely a community thing. And it's kind of sad that someone would take that away from you. But hey, man, we're rebuilding. Actually, Morrowind has the best theme. Skyrim has the best journeying music. You know, it's interesting you should say that. I think it's definitely a matter of opinion. Like, you know, nostalgia-wise, they should be starting any second, guys. I'm pumped to hear about the new companions system. You've got a big forehead. I mean, that's just funny. Maybe my my ice gem hairstyle doesn't help me. Yeah, I mean, obviously I can take it though these days. Been on this platform for 10 years now. Putting up with you guys. I know you're kidding, dude. Don't worry. It's all good. I was one of those people who got banned, dude. Like, over 20,000 people got banned. It was ridiculous. And I literally watched it all happen in the space of like a couple of minutes. It was nuts. Best Elder Scrolls Online theme? Oh god. Honestly, some of the Skyrim soundtracks were really nostalgic for me, so that was cool. But I also like the Morrowind ones on ESO as well. This is they always use this soundtrack though, whenever they do like live streams and stuff. It's quite funny. They love it. This is like the OG soundtrack. Well, I appreciate you for doing so, man. Did you work at Bethesda? No, never. I have spoken to people who have worked at Bethesda and are still working there, though. One of which, actually, I got to interview. He created the original Elder Scrolls series. He wrote the games. Definitely recommend checking out that interview if you're interested. Very insightful. It was an absolute pleasure to be able to do that. And it's really thanks to you guys that I got the opportunity. I love your videos and the content you make. Not a single video or stream I haven't liked. Keep up the work, bro. Thank you so much, Crimson Lux. I'm pretty sure, dude, that I have recognized your name from like the OG streams back in the day. How are you? I'm good, mate. Danny is Todd Howard. It's funny how Todd Howard is someone you can love and hate at the same time. Become an icon. He's almost like Gabe from Steam at this point, though. It's incredible, isn't it? I do think he really cares about the games he makes, though, which I have deep respect for. I think it'll be interesting to see how Bethesda and ZeniMax move forward with Xbox as, owning them. I think it spells very good things for us as the gaming fans and community. Here we go, guys. We're going live. I'm excited. Oh. Do they know they're on mute? That's not me. I literally can't. Oh, okay. The chat is also saying muted. This time the technical difficulty is not. This is like one of my streams, guys. How many times?
There. Hello?
There we go.
Okay. Testing.
Oh no, were you muted?
I forgot to unmute. You know what? That's okay. We
start over. Welcome everybody. We're so happy to have you here with us today.
Okay, here we are. Sorry about that. We were even saying before the stream started, like, oh, we have to remember to do all these things, and it's going to be the one thing we forget.
You
Apparently,
always nail
it's
it first time as well,
unmuting,
and you just muted.
That's fine. We didn't say anything
Thank you all
important
for letting
anyway.
us know.
I saw chat going nuts, like, can't hear you. Can't hear you.
We told you all the secrets and you missed it.
You missed it. Sorry. It was the secret to life and eternal happiness. Just kidding.
Dude, look at that.
Welcome, everybody.
Thanks
for joining us for real today. We have a really special show for everyone. We're going to be talking more about the companion system, which is coming with Blackwood. We're going to be showing a little bit of gameplay, show off the UI of companions. But first, we are going to just touch on a couple important
Guys, we're going to watch this, and then we're going to go back through it and analyze some of the details.
You all really want to see companions in action. Yeah. So speaking of, you might have seen some coverage coming out starting yesterday about Blackwood, companions, the Endeavor system. We recently had a press and community influencer hands-on event in the embargo lifted yesterday. There's tons of great coverage, both in what would you say, like text form?
Yeah, video format,
like articles and
yeah.
Articles, videos. So be sure to check that out.
Is incredible.
And then also, we recently shared information on the upcoming Endeavor system. Some of the articles and coverage covered that as well. We do have an article up on the official ESO site that goes over all the basics. So be sure to check that out. And that'll be up on PTS for you to check out soon.
We'll talk about that too, because that's very pro-consumer.
If by soon you mean Monday. Because PTS is being updated on Monday with Update 30 and Blackwood. Mm-hmm. We're going to be starting maintenance probably around 8 a.m. Eastern time. It is going to take a while. We will try and publish patch notes at least in the morning, Eastern time again. We're going to be doing an any character copy as usual for the first week.
How long are the patch notes this time?
I think they ended up being around 43 pages.
Holy crap.
43 pages.
It has been a week. It has been a week. You know what? Everyone better read them all because that was an effort.
Raise your hand. Raise your hand if you're going to read them all.
I read them all. But yeah, there is no NDA in place for this chapter. We just kind of ask that you don't spoil the story for anybody. If you want to give feedback, we will have a specific thread that will contain main story feedback. That way, if you want to give your feedback, you want to avoid the spoilers, you can go in there. Otherwise, Monday's going to be pretty exciting.
The quality is not me, by the way.
As if that wasn't enough, we're also doing a PC incremental patch on Monday. So it's going to be a little bit smaller. We do have an actual fix for that guild and friendsless history issue where it says everyone logged in like 1970.
Lol.
We're going to have a fix for that.
That was before the game came out.
And we do have a console incremental next week. I want to say it's next Wednesday, somewhere around there.
Well, I'll be streaming more on Twitch,
so stay tuned for that. That'll be happening, not Monday.
I'll be streaming a lot of ESO when it comes out
currently.
As well.
That's the current plan.
All the patches.
All the patches. We just love to throw everything in within like 48 hours of each other. It's really fun.
She is tired.
Lastly, Twitch drops are on. So just make sure that your ESO and Twitch accounts are linked. And then once you meet the minimum watch requirement, which is about 15 minutes, you'll see a pop-up saying you can claim it. Make sure you claim the drop in Twitch. And then that way, the next time you log into the game, you'll be able to get your Ouroboros Crown
Mate,
Crate.
I've never got
Oh,
anything
one
good
other
from a
thing I
Crown
wanted to
Crate.
mention. We did publish the Update 30 combat preview yesterday afternoon. So if you haven't taken a look at that yet, it is stickied in the forums in the combat section from Brian Wheeler. So if you're interested in getting a little preview on some of the major things changing with combat in Update 30, be sure and check that out too.
Don't
good
nerf
stuff.
my set. I've just collected it.
All right.
Please.
Well, we know
That's it.
everyone's really excited to hear about companions, so we are going to bring in, and by bring in, I mean switch our screens to Phil and Janet.
Let's do it. This is what
So
we're
we
here
are
for.
really lucky to have Phil and Janet with us here today. They're very busy, and
Alduin in the background.
we're
though.
excited to talk companions for a little while with everyone.
Welcome, you two.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're super excited to be here.
So
Yeah, same.
Phil is our lead systems designer for ESO. Been on the team for quite a while.
This chair looks like a throne.
It's actually been a long time since we've had Phil on an ESO Live. So for any new viewers, or just to refresh everyone's memory, Phil, did you want to talk a little bit about what you do as a lead systems designer?
Sure. So as lead systems
Awesome
designer,
job.
I'm responsible for the team that handles pretty much all of the non-combat systems in the game. So things like achievements, itemization,
the
housing,
RPG stuff.
antiquities, all
Love
of
it.
that kind of stuff, and how those things tie into all of the other systems in the game.
MVP.
And so for the last year, that has been mostly focused on companions. And so in my role focusing on companions for the last year, I've been the primary designer of how all of the pieces fit together, as well as the product, what we call the product owner, who coordinates between the team and leadership and everybody else to make sure we
He
stay
makes
on
it sound
track.
so boring, but his job's really cool.
And this was a big undertaking, and I'm sure we'll talk about that a little bit later in the show.
Mm.
And Janet,
Very much.
welcome.
Janet.
You've been on the show a couple times as well, yeah?
Never. I think this is my first time.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Janet,
newbie.
chat
Oh my goodness.
Chat loves your hair, by the way. They are
Aw.
loving your hair color. Janet was actually in, was
Bless
it
her.
the Global Reveal event
Yeah.
for Blackwood this year?
Maybe
she
that's
was,
what I'm
actually.
thinking
We
of.
watched that as
Or,
well.
or
It's great.
was it the preview from
Markart.
Q4 maybe?
I think
It was
the Markart.
it was one of those
Review.
things. We saw you recently
We played
in a
for it
video
recently.
somewhere.
Yeah, that was me.
Really
Yep, I'm
good
a
DLC.
senior
Better
content
than the
designer
initial
here,
Skyrim release.
and basically what I do is a lot of the quests. I've worked on a lot of the main story quest, Somerset, part of Vardenfell. I can't even remember. Greymore. I did part of the Markarth main quest. You know, it's usually a team effort, but you know, I did a lot of side quests and objectives.
He smashed that.
Generally,
one
if there's
because
a
they
quest
were
where
really
you end
good.
up turned into a monkey, it was probably me. So I'm working toward that again.
And Janet,
and-
people are noticing all your doll heads. They notice the doll head light that you have in the background.
So
Very
between
Toy
my
Story,
husband-
isn't it?
We
OG.
definitely talked about that before the stream. See, I told you.
Yes.
I told you people would notice.
Yes, I have a lot more downstairs in what we call the cabinet of abandoned doll heads. But yeah,
Has a name.
it's just a thing.
Oh.
What do you guys think?
Kind of want to take like a tour of your house just to go see all the abandoned doll heads laying around.
Guys,
That's
where
amazing.
is
Don't you all
Tina's
like go around
helmet
to
from?
antique stores and
Like,
look for them?
Can you?
We do. That
Can't
is
point
one
it
of our hobbies. We were away
The
last week,
Skyrim-like
and one of the
helmet. Where
things
is
we
that
did
from?
was spend a day finding, you know, bizarre old antique stores to see if I could find any more broken dolls. I'm very particular about them, though. Like
I
these
love
are all
that.
really old.
I love that. That's so unique and fun.
Yes.
Some people find it odd. It amuses us. What can I say? So.
So what did you work on in the companion system?
I actually, as a quest designer, I helped develop the two companions that you're going to see today and when you're playing the game.
Cool.
Their introductory story, which is a normal, objective quest. But then I got to develop their background and their personal stories and quest lines so that you can really get to know them. So it was great. It was
Glad they
being
did
able to
that.
develop the characters. So I got to be part of the whole systems endeavor, which is a little different for me as a content designer. Usually I'm off in my own little, silo, but being part of this huge endeavor was pretty amazing and learned a lot, actually.
Thanks for the resub, dude.
That's awesome.
19
Awesome.
months.
Well, thank
Holy
you both. And let's see.
Oh my god, thanks, dude.
Did we want to talk a little bit
long-time
about the
supporter.
companion system before we hop in game and take a look?
No, we
Just
don't.
kinda
We don't
give
want to
people-
talk about it.
Give people kind of a broad
Gina's so
view
chill.
of
She's
what it
got
looked
the,
like.
the
I think we
great
should.
So maybe
stream
starting out-
attitude.
So there's a lot of options for systems, and every year I know we look at, okay, what are the new systems that we want to add to the game? So why companions? How did you all come to decide that that was the next system that you wanted to add to ESO?
Good question.
So that's a really good question. There are so many possibilities between the background of the world and how big the game has grown. There are so many things that we want to continue to explore and add to the game, and just kind of keep making it richer and richer and richer. So we have a large backlog of possibilities. Some of it are based on player feedback, some of it based on things that we've always personally wanted to do, and that gets kind of ongoingly evaluated by Rich and the other directors and leads to come up with candidate options for potential major features. And companions was something that's been in the back of our mind for a long time, and it's something that anytime we can introduce a new way to interact with the world, to kind of look through new eyes, to
Huge.
introduce gameplay that isn't just straightforward, quest, combat, but adds additional elements. Those are always things that kind of start rising to the surface for us to explore and give people a wider option of gameplay potential.
Yeah, you want to give people something to do that isn't just do a quest or fight things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
and
those
some
things
variety.
are also awesome, but we
Totally.
want to make sure that people can kind of change it up and
Mhm.
I wonder if they
manage
like
what their
have
interests are at
friction
any
with
given
your
moment, and
character.
it
Though.
also gives a lot of opportunities where you're doing one thing and then like, well,
Mhm.
maybe I'll get pulled into this thing.
New ways to explore the world and
Mhm.
progress. Yeah.
Yeah, and
100%.
Very cool.
And there's so many different things that you can do with your companions too. Like it's not
Mhm.
just they
You go
fight
on a
alongside
date.
you. Like there's a lot there. So taking a step back,
You can
could
go
you talk a little bit
outside.
about the sort of the design vision and the overall goals for the companion system?
I mean, I don't know if it was divine inspiration or not.
I think
but-
I combined the words
Definitely was.
design vision. It just turned into divine. So
Thanks, bro.
Yeah,
Thanks
so-
for the beard compliment.
Like I said, this was something we've been thinking about for a while, and what the right way to do this would be. We really wanted to capture that magic of having an adventuring buddy, having somebody with you going through the world that might have a different perspective on the things that you're engaging with, that might be able to teach you something about Tamriel, or call attention to something in Tamriel that maybe you had been overlooking. But have their own viewpoints. And so when we
Dragons
started
in my
building out the
homeland.
system, we tried to identify kind of the key pillars that we wanted to really hit to make sure that the system really sang. So between the companion identity and their backstory and their personal preferences, which is where Janet tackled a lot of that. We also wanted to make sure there was customization, not just in their appearance, but with combat and how you handle them and how you prep them
Very
for
cool.
battle. And then overall, we wanted to make sure that they were very responsive, very dynamic, were aware of what was going on in the world and what the player was doing as much
Ooh,
as possible.
That's amazing.
So with those sort of key pillars in mind, we started exploring what we could do with the system. And from early conversations with the engineers and various departments, we started realizing that we had the potential to make something really, really special.
I wonder if they-
so that was exciting and kind of drove the team forward.
It's like Ingo from Skyrim, how he comments on like
Awesome.
everything you're doing.
You might have already
all the
kind of answered
quests.
this, but
That'd be cool.
just in case there's any others.
A lot of work.
With a
though.
system like this, there's probably a lot of things to keep in mind as you're designing it. What were some of the main considerations that you had to kind of keep in mind as you were creating the companion system?
So many. Anytime we're adding a large system to the game, there are a lot of concerns that we fundamentally have to take into account. So adding a new system is something
Right
that
now, thanks for the
you
donation.
don't want it
mate.
to undermine what's already there. You want it to augment. You want it to synergize. You want it to be something that adds value to everything. And so that's always a really tricky balancing act in terms of any system, but particularly with companions. We wanted companions to be impactful and meaningful, but we didn't want them to be like a player replacement or anything like that. We
Yeah.
That's
wanted
kind of what
them
they
to
are,
discourage
though,
social
isn't it?
bonds. So this is something that maybe if you're more of a solo player, you can bring them along, or if you like
I think
duo,
most people
you can
are
bring
solo
a couple
players
of them with you into a
coming from
dungeon.
other Elder Scrolls games.
And they're really meant to enhance that and give you that option. And then, beyond that, we're always focused on performance. So, anytime we add to the game, we have to be very cognizant of, well, what is the impact on the client, on the server, on the database, on frame rates, on loading times. And so we've been working very
You're
closely with
literally doubling
engineers from the very
on
beginning to
screen
make
players.
sure that all of the decisions we're making take that into account. We're minimizing the any kind of consequences like that, and that we have safeguards and mitigation strategies in place in case things are problematic. So we've been trying to really make sure that that is accounted for. And then one of the last things is, we want you to be able to customize your companions, but we also want them to retain their identities. So that was a really interesting balancing
That's really
act.
interesting.
And we're excited to
Thanks
see
for
how
the resub
people,
and
how
the
people feel
member,
about where we
Sick Boy
landed
and
with that.
Wolfwood.
Because these are people that have very strong, opinions on things, and you can't customize that out of them.
I like that.
So we'll see
That
how
they
that plays
actually
out.
have
That's
a
awesome.
character.
That's a lot to
that
consider. Longevity
frictions
too,
with you.
probably, of the system.
Oh, for sure. Everything that we add to the game, we continue to add. Like, we didn't add crafting at launch and then forget about it. We've added macerates.
I really want to hear
motifs
about their
and,
personality.
all kinds of stuff.
and how it
same
affects
thing with
gameplay.
companions. This is very much, just the beginning. This is, we had to focus on all the fundamentals, but this is absolutely the kind of thing that we can grow and keep stacking and
I can
adding
see why it
things
took them a year to do.
based on what players are engaging with and really enjoying, and we can kind of double down on those things. So I'm excited to see where we get to go with this.
Feedback, guys.
Too.
Give your
It
feedback.
was interesting from my perspective as well, in that a lot of times you're just developing a story, an NPC in a storyline, and then you're done. And this was a very different perspective, coming up with characters that it's not just like, okay, blah blah blah, we're going to do these few things and then run off, and then you really don't go back to them, or
Yeah, that
and
would
they're not just basic followers in a particular area, and then they go away. So it added a different flavor in trying to get them to be a vital living part of the game.
Yeah. Phil, I have to say, a lot of people in chat really like your chair in particular.
Literally.
They said it's like a Darth Vader chair.
Boss man.
That's awesome.
I mean,
This
there's
is a
also
rusty
the
nail.
Oh!
behind me.
I was
So
going to
that
say,
might
it
be
looks
what's
like a pretty
adding little-
massive...
Yeah, most of this is just like an empty void for VR, but I have got my treadmill behind me.
Legend. Your
But yeah, I have
VR
to get the
room.
big and tall chairs since I'm 6'6", and
boy.
most chairs kind of disintegrate very
6'6"?
quickly.
No one has a VR
Yeah.
room.
Wow.
I
I know.
don't
I've
have a
seen. It's
VR
been a while
headset.
since I've seen you in person. I didn't realize you were
Yes.
that tall. Wow.
Over a year since seeing everybody. in
no.
He's
person.
grown. He's grown since the pandemic started.
I've
He ate that
actually
giant
shrunk,
cheese from
believe it or not.
Skyrim.
I've lost a lot of weight in the last.
Oh, good for you.
Yay!
Bless
Yay
him.
for getting healthy.
That's adorable.
Trying.
But no.
It's hard.
I've stayed
it's
the
hard.
same physically, but mentally, boy, I think I've shrunk a little bit mentally.
I think we all have.
I feel that.
Yeah, the whole companion system was built.
I'm hoping for gameplay
during
too.
the
At home,
pandemic.
right?
Work from home,
Yeah.
from
That's
home for
crazy.
the full year. It was the first time we've done
Wow.
anything like that. That definitely introduced some new challenges too in
I'm
terms
sure.
of coordinating and communicating, brainstorming, everything. We kind of had
Mm-hmm.
to rethink a little bit of how we approach that, but
hmm
the team did incredibly well.
What a Chad.
in kind of rising to that challenge.
So, you mentioned trying to collaborate with the teams at home. How many teams were involved in designing the companion system, or even just, the first couple companions?
Probably everyone, right?
Yeah, I mean, so we have the companions team, which had representation from all the different departments, and so it was one of the larger teams that we've had, because this is one of the biggest features that we've ever added, that I've personally ever worked on. But in terms of disciplines and departments and expertise, this really hit everybody in the studio more so than most features
There
that
you
we've
go.
worked on before. Like, a lot of features, they kind of have a little bit more of a narrow scope, where you don't necessarily, with housing, there wasn't as much content quest kind of integration, where it was like, okay,
Yo.
but VO was kind of reduced. But with companions, we had all the different
Starfield
design
this year.
disciplines, from systems and combat, UI, content, making quests, encounter setting up
Thanks
the
for the like,
reactions.
Mark.
We had the writers
One
doing
person on
all the
Facebook.
lines
Boy.
and the reactions, and helping us get all the text right. Engineers of every category, like we had an army of engineers that did incredible work getting everything working. Art in terms of the animations and the figures, and making sure that all of the cosmetics worked correctly, all the VO lines and audio, production, coordinating everything, QA, helping us make
Audio
sure
is
that it's
so
all going to
important.
work. It
If a
was an
companion repeats
unbelievable
himself
undertaking,
like
and like I
too
said,
often,
everybody
you've noticed
really
so
rose to the
quickly.
challenge and did incredible work under challenging circumstances, especially.
That's amazing. And for the last year, you mentioned that this has been in progress at least.
Oh, it's been technically in progress for a little over a year, but in
Wow.
terms of getting in and tackling, it's been basically the whole length of the
I
pandemic.
feel like some people won't
has been
appreciate
us
the amount of effort
focusing
that's
on
gone
it,
into
which
this.
is
Wow.
wild.
But it's
It takes a
clearly
That is
small
crazy.
army just to build out a whole new
Well worth
system
it.
Yeah.
like that, huh?
Absolutely.
I will say
So-
my involvement with the team was like, wow, there's a lot more meetings involved in this
Yeah.
than I'm used to.
Yeah. So take note, viewers, whenever you're
No,
like,
you've not
"Isn't it
missed
just
anything,
easy
really.
to add this thing to the game?"
You're fine, mate. Don't worry.
No.
Just add the checkbox for companions.
Yeah, just
right?
turn it
Well,
on.
you're
Yeah.
done.
Just put it in. All right. Well, we know everyone's really excited to be able to see some of this in game. So we are going to be on
Let's
an
do it.
internal server where
I
things
think
are,
companions will
still
simply
kind of a
make
work
the
in
game
progress.
easier.
You might see some
There's not anything wrong
placeholder
with that.
icons, or
just
we're
how
actually
it'll
on
be.
the same server that we were a couple weeks ago when we had Jason. We were going through showing off the zone. Let me
It just makes it more
make
accessible,
sure
doesn't
I'm
it?
in here. All right, so we are on.
Here we are.
Yeah, I'll say an internal
COVID
server, but
mask.
it's kind of like a private server, if you will. So again, if you see anything,
I'm
that
sorry,
looks a little
Janet, by
off,
the way. I'm totally covering you.
That's why.
that's why. So my character's in front of Leowin here.
Dude,
And,
Leowin looks
gosh, I
huge.
need another monitor. I have so many windows open at this point. I can't even see my notes. So let's talk, I guess, a little bit about the two companions that we have. And these are going to be with Blackwood's launch. So do you want to start with Bastion, maybe?
You can see the Cathedral of Leowin in the background. It looks
Sure.
amazing.
Do you want me to talk about it?
Sure. So yeah, the placeholder icon, but we'll pull him out.
Yeah,
Oh,
just
you
like,
call them like that?
what are they like? What are their personalities?
There he is.
Okay.
Their backgrounds without too many spoilers.
Bastion.
No problem. Yeah, I don't want to spoil stuff because it's kind of fun to
You can customize
Yeah.
their
you know,
outfit.
get to know your companion. But Bastion is one of the companions. He is an Imperial, and one of the reasons we chose, we chose. I didn't pull them out of a hat myself, but Imperial. This is an area that has a heavy Imperial influence, so it
That's
seemed
her,
like,
Mike, not
good
me.
time to introduce an Imperial character. He is very much, I would say, a straight shooter, and as you get to know him, he's a very able, sort of combat person, but then you realize he's not one of these sort of brash, blustering kind of warrior types. He's got a side to him that maybe lacks a little confidence, and as you get to know him,
Ooh.
once he's your companion, you get a little hint of sort of his circumstances as you do his objective, and should I tell you
Okay.
which objective that is, or leave it to a surprise, or
I think we can reveal that to get
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
started.
there's an objective. Some people, if you played Oblivion, you might recognize, called Deep Scorn Hollow,
Ooh.
and you get to see a sort of different aspect of this area in this game, and that's where you meet up with Bastion and help him solve a little problem that he needs to take care of.
Love
And
that.
yeah, it's just a funny, quest line, and sort of figuring out what happened and help him retrieve something that he needs to retrieve. So, and then after that, he through the course of that, he sort of realizes that, what, maybe I need to sort of change what's going on in my life, and that's how he becomes available as a companion for you. And then
Okay.
you can just quest with him, and little by little, you get to know him. You get his likes and dislikes. He is, as I said, a straight shooter. So if you are a thiefy, pickpockety, stabbity type, he
Whereas the female
might not
follower, I think, is
achieve
a
a
rogue.
real favorable view of you. So, and that will go into our rapport system, which I think Phil will talk about a little.
What happens if they don't
So,
like you? Like, what
Somebody was
gameplay
asking if you
mechanic
can
is
still
that?
have a pet out, like a non-combat pet. You definitely can. So here, I'll
I
pull
better be
out,
able to have my
look at the
pet
pack.
cat out.
Oh yeah.
Sorry. So yeah, you
When I
can
was
still have your
playing a
pet
lot,
out.
I would always. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
We can actually talk to him, so we can kind of get a sense of
Yeah, he does look a bit nervous in
what
his
his-
animations doing
what his
this
talking
and
is
stuff.
like.
He remembers me as a 2-year-old child, and I don't
Can't hear him
remember
at all,
it
though.
What if we have nothing in common besides
He's
money?
so
Yeah,
quiet.
you can just, if you've done a quest with him, there's follow up about that. But ongoing, you can just talk about your partnership,
Click on companion
and
menu.
that conversation can change as
What's on your
you
mind?
achieve a better
Status
relationship with him.
R3+4.
If he's real friendly with you, he might say one thing. If he's kind of, if you've been a jerk all along, he might not be super friendly to you.
Lol.
I don't think we
So-
would get along, me and Bastion.
As
Be
far as
surprised.
traditional alignment terms, lawful
Cadwell
good.
should be a
I
companion.
would say lawful good. Yeah.
Yeah,
Great voice actor too.
sounded like it.
Let's should we take a look at Miri also?
Yeah.
Just so we can
This is
check
the
out
Elder
both
Scrolls
of them.
Online.
So when you want to pull out your companion in your collections menu, it's under allies. This is a new section in the collections menu. So let's get-
And on the newer builds, assistants are also under allies because they're mutually exclusive. You can't have multiple people with you.
That makes sense.
But that'll be a little more obvious.
Look at Miri,
that
she won't
makes
even
sense.
look at me. Good start.
So those are some things, that kind of
So this
thing
is the
is
only.
probably
She's
still
a
being
Dunmer
tweaked.
female follower.
But you can even see from her stance, she's just a different type.
What is she wearing?
First of all, I love the Dunmer for life. Sorry, every first character I ever played in an Elder Scrolls game is a Dunmer. But
Pretty cool.
they're,
was
particularly
a
Dunmer
Breton. What was
women,
yours?
they're smart and they're salty. But she actually is. I like her. She's very grounded, and she is an adventurous type. But she has strong ties to her family, and that informs her, like a lot of times, sort of
This
how
seems like a wimp.
how she deals with the world. Like she's not the constant mistress of sarcasm or anything, but she's pretty sassy though, and so she's
like
a lot
that.
of fun to travel with.
My kind
And
of
now,
gal.
I hope it's not annoying.
yeah,
sassy,
on
but I
a
like
direct
it.
contrast, like for example, I was testing something in playing game, and I happened to have her going along with me. I wasn't testing the companion specifically, but I compulsively have to loot things, and I saw a thieves guild trove, so I ran over to grab it, and all of a sudden I hear this voice go, "Nice, I won't tell anybody," or something to that effect. And I was like,
I like that.
"Oh, I forgot. She kind of likes that stuff." So
It
it's-
sounds like
it's
she'll
funny,
be
but
my.
she's got a little. She's a little
Probably
more
everyone's
worldly,
follower.
I'd
She just seems like a
say,
cooler
and
character than the guy.
sophisticated in her way than maybe Bastion is.
I like her.
She's like a bit of a bitch as well. I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, I even like that sort of. I like that stance, with the hip out. And
Yep.
she's just like,
Attitude.
yep.
Attitude for miles. I love it.
She's also, she's
That
also
Windows
like,
sound isn't
she's
me.
an adventurer, but she is very much into like the history of things that she explores. Like she's not just a narcissist dren looting things and making up
Narcissist.
stories. It's-
Oh, yeah.
Yours was an Argonian.
I don't know if
Awesome.
you noticed
Weirdo.
there,
I
but
love
when,
it.
when Gina went in and talked to Miri and kind of picked the same dialogue option, there was a different response. We have the ability now to kind of randomize some of those replies. And so when you're asking them about themselves or to tell them, to share some of their background, you can glean some of their preferences from those conversations to give a little insight and hints into what they might like or dislike. So, Miri commenting here that she, can't stand goblins or snakes or boats. Like, if you want to get on her good side, you kill some snakes, she might appreciate that.
Oh, that's
Hint,
cool.
hint.
That's
Sounds like there's some
really
stories there.
nice detail.
So I have to ask, because I'm really curious about these two. So after a long day of adventuring, or mischief, maybe in Miri's case, where
She's
are
my
you
top choice, yeah.
most likely to find these two? What would they be doing?
I think Miri would be hanging out in a bar, basically. And,
Yep.
That's Miri. She'd be relaxing, and she might, if they played darts, she'd probably be playing darts, something like that. Bastion, on the other hand, he's a little mellower. He's not like he'd go to a tavern or whatever, but I would find him more like he'd kick back and want to read a book or something.
Oh
And
god.
I'm saying that, but like that's what I like to do, so I get
A little
that.
slower. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not
A little
he's
slower.
not super socially adept.
Oh wow.
I think like I said, Miri has a little more sophistication that way, or confidence maybe.
Yeah. You know what
Makes
I'm gonna
sense.
do?
I love it. Yeah.
I'm gonna have some fun here.
Okay.
Move
I
over.
am
Sorry,
going
doing?
sorry, I will,
to,
guys.
if I can
'cause
find it.
I don't want to cover this lovely
option?
lady's face all the time. Sorry.
What
You're
trying to
very
do?
I
right.
can't find it. No, I was looking in
She's doing all the talking. She's doing all the explaining of the interesting
gosh.
stuff as well, and I'm just
Reading
sitting
and,
on top of her.
reading and clicking is hard. There we go.
Vampire or
I
werewolf?
was gonna start
Werewolf
a
has
poll.
always been the most exciting, but I
Yes.
love vampires. I just think Twilight's kind of ruined them for me.
Which I'll say which
ESO, the skills are kind of fun,
companion
but I want
would you
to.
choose?
Yeah, I do. I
Miri
think vampires
or
are cooler.
Bastion?
than
Are you
werewolves.
team Miri or team
I
Bastion?
just
This is just for
don't
fun.
Get to fulfill myself
curious
when I play
about
them
things.
in this
That
game.
sounds like a Twitter thing we need to do too.
Yes,
later
I've
on.
not tried
yeah,
out the
we
vampire
should.
one, actually.
Maybe when the chapter comes out.
I just want to say, you get to know Bastion. I mean, not
Yeah.
everybody's,
I've-
he's a little shyer.
And to be clear, fortunately, you get to friend and adventure with both of them and learn their backstories and everything. They're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
In
Mhm.
terms of you can unlock them both and do all the things with them.
I'll do an
I
Elder
mean,
Scrolls 6.
I have to say,
walkthrough,
Miri
yeah.
is winning, but not by like 1,000%. A lot of
No,
Miri's
she's
got a
winning
pretty
by
strong lead, though.
1,000%.
70%
easy.
I love
of you are
both my
saying-
children.
Yeah, I know. Which one's your favorite
There's
child?
no way Twitch chat thinks that.
It's like when we
number
asked
one.
Finn what's his favorite
Yeah,
dungeon.
everyone is saying.
Yeah, Miri is
She's the clear winner.
definitely the clear favorite for today's Twitch chat.
Audience.
Winning
Error
at
claiming bonus.
69%.
Bethesda hate me, man.
Nice.
Fuck's sake.
I think Bastion's going to grow on people a little bit.
Miri, 69%.
As people get in
What is
there,
this?
really start clicking around and getting to know them. I mean,
That's
there's
so
a lot
true.
of different dialogue.
Yeah, look,
that-
she's got
We
double the
should
votes.
show everybody, right? Kind of what the UI looks like.
Because, like,
Where you
what?
can
yeah,
interact.
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
want some guy
Yeah,
to
let's show
follow
off
me
the
around and
UI
be
and
like,
talk
oh,
a
I
little
don't
bit
like you
about
stealing.
rapport,
Yeah.
and show the rapport UI.
All right. So, hop
So-
back. Here we are.
Maybe
So
a
like
little bit
we-
of skills slotting.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Oh, yeah,
there's
show
so
me that.
much that you can do with them.
Mhm.
Kind of going into rapport, since we were looking at those dialogue options that gave you some background on them. Anytime you do something in the world that they like or dislike, in addition to them kind of commenting on it like you'd expect, there'll also be an indicator in the bottom right and kind of the loot stream to let you know, like rapport up, rapport
Miri
down.
likes that.
And then when you go into the companion menu,
Everybody
on the
dislikes
main
that.
screen there, there's basically this indicator of kind of where you fall on the the relative spectrum of rapport with that companion.
What
And
does she dislike? I
looks
wonder?
like Gina might have been getting on Mira's bad side, because I think you start off at cordial.
I
and
know.
now
I
you're
did.
down to
I did
wary.
a bad thing that she didn't like, so it already moved down.
I like that they respond to
Um,
stuff. That's cool.
And so over time, as you kind of learn what they like and what they prefer, you can kind of go out in the world of adventure. There are like timers associated with it, so it's not like if you just go murder 1,000 snakes, she's going to love you and it's going to be over. But you kind of learn what they like and go adventure in the world and keep that in mind, and that will slowly, gradually move in the direction of positive or negative based on your actions. And then as your rapport trends up, you will unlock things like their side quests, achievements, different dialogue.
Somebody said I have to
Stuff
go
like that.
kill more boats.
I would be impressed.
I'll make it happen.
Ah.
Yeah, chat's kind of freaking out, saying they see the skills here, and that's definitely
Yes.
a thing. You can slot some skills for your companion.
They showed that previously.
And I
Yeah,
have
you also
one
see the
usually.
combat level there as well.
Yeah.
So in addition to rapport, there are several ways that you can grow and
Skills are on
and
timers, though.
level up your companion. So rapport can go either way based on your actions, but going up will unlock things. Going down, probably don't want to go down, but if you end up making them dislike you, there's a chance that they will actually unsummon themselves and not want to adventure with you for a little while.
Oh wow, they're
So-
like, I don't like you, I'm out.
I mean, you can only offend them so much before they call it.
Okay.
But they won't be permanently gone. You have an opportunity to work your rapport back up. And we have safeguards in place so you don't accidentally destroy your rapport through, I don't know, slaughtering a bunch of kittens or something.
Oh no.
So
thing
going
we're gonna do.
into beyond the combat level, which levels up from combat monster death experience.
My whole
If
playthrough will
you
be
go
based on
into
if
the
Miri
skills
likes it.
tab there, you can see there are a number of skills on the left-hand side. Some of those are
She's a
placeholder. The
Nightblade.
final names aren't damage, heal, tank. That's kind of internal.
The other one's
But
a
you see a
Dragon
list
Knight.
of abilities, and so similar to a player, but in kind of a distilled version, you can level up these skill lines which unlock abilities, and you can then slot those abilities into your companion's ability bar at the bottom. There's the abilities here are going to be
Kinda
familiar
crap
to the
skills, to be
players.
honest.
They're often kind of, again, distilled down element of the existing class skill lines, weapons, armor, guild,
What a surprise
etc.
attack.
So they'll be familiar. There's damage, healing, and tanking, and
Miri
some of them have
taking
restrictions
A.
on when they'll be used. But ultimately, how you slot them in the bar is how they're going to try to use them. So
Oops.
whatever you have in the leftmost slot is going to be their top priority for using in battle.
Oh, that's good to know it.
And I don't know if you saw this, but when Gina was mousing over the abilities, there, in addition to the normal combat information, there's also cooldowns. So right now, the way that companions are set up, which is different than the player abilities, is they're all cooldown centric. You don't have a resource pool that you have to worry about.
You can also
managing for them, or
prioritize
that they're
it
gonna
from
run
left
out
to
of
right.
magicka. Everything is cooldown based, so that's another factor to consider in terms of the order in which you
Oh,
slot things.
cleave, yeah.
And
Got
again,
you
for
on
anybody
skills.
getting hung up on the
That's
tooltips
good.
right now, this is a build that's like, oh my gosh, it's over a month old, I think, at this
Yeah,
point.
it's-
So
it's-
things may still
we've-
be changing when we get on PTS. It might not be exactly the same, but this will at least give you a general idea
Nightblade
of
skills were-
what some of the ability types are.
Yeah, I saw some people commenting on the 3600 CP too. This is an internal server, so everything's
I'm not that
maxed
good.
out.
I'm not that good.
Phil, do they level up the skills the same way a player does by having them slotted and in use along with gaining XP with you?
I assume so.
Sort of. So in terms of the class abilities, those will unlock as you level up their combat level. For the weapons and armor, you do have to have them equipped. Basically the right type of weapon or the right amount of armor equipped for them to be ranked up. And
Yep.
then for the guilds, it's taking the companions and doing the daily quests associated with those
Okay.
guilds.
Very cool.
Yeah, and the racial is automatically
Silver
embedded,
bolts
and
and
there's a few
circular
things like that.
protection.
And then ultimately you unlock an ultimate once you bring them up a high
Oh,
enough
really
level that they
good
will use that
undaughter
is
skill
unique to them.
access.
That is not something that is based on an existing ability that kind of tries to illustrate their personality and kind of give them a little unique flair.
She
So you can kind of choose, like, if you want more of a damage type, more of a healer,
She looks
more
so
of a
pissed all the
tank,
time.
and then adjust the abilities from there.
100%, and any kind of hybridization, and you can change it on the fly. We really didn't want anybody to, we didn't want anybody to avoid a given companion because they felt like their built-in role didn't complement their the player's own role, right? So
Yeah.
giving you the customization, whether you're already playing a tank, healer, or DPS, you can pick and design the perfect complement to your own playstyle with your companion.
To me, though, she looks like DPS.
And then I think we haven't
would
really
be-
talked about this, but the last piece of that is equipment. So if you look on the left-hand side there is equipment. There's a paper doll that you can see what's all equipped. Gina's showing off the various abilities, the various
aggressive.
So this is kind of similar to PTS, where we kind of just had like bags of
Boxes.
stuff. Yeah, boxes that I just kind of dumped a bunch of stuff in here just so everybody can get a general idea. So like
Reduces
there are different
damage.
levels. It's not all purple.
Only companions can equip, so it just
And
gives
they
you
have
armor,
unique
flat
armor, and right?
They have basically companion gear is independent from player gear and vice versa. You can't kind of swap between them
Or craft
It's
it.
a little bit. You can't craft it. You can't upgrade it again. Companions. We really wanted to distill down the
So you could
experience of
build them
companions.
around
We didn't want
DPS
to
tank.
double the sort of
healer.
overhead and management of your character onto your companion. So everything is kind of a simplified version that still tries to capture the essence of customization and growth.
Reduce
So
ability
you
cooldown
can
by
get this gear,
3%.
but it's very straightforward. There are traits.
Not a lot.
So you can kind of use that as an additional layer of customization in combat. So if you want to make a tanky companion, in addition to giving them taunts and defensive stuff, you can give them traits that reduce the amount of damage that they're taking or increase the amount of healing that they receive, give them more hit points, stuff like that. And we tried to make sure all 3 roles were well represented. And you know,
Yeah, the Twitch
you
chat
want,
is
you want people to go
simping
out and hunt
hard.
for this equipment, trade it amongst
99999
themselves.
gold.
And that's another form of progression that the companions will
Can
go
I give
through,
them
but again, in
Eben
very
and
sort of
alcohol?
distilled form.
No.
Very cool. So you can get this as
Cannot.
drops. Is that the main,
Yeah, how do
the
you
main way? And you can
get-
trade it. Yeah.
How do you get that
the
gear?
equipment?
So we didn't want to kind of pigeonhole companions to be like, well, the right way to get companion gear is to go do X specific thing. So companion gear, like player gear in a lot of respects, can drop from almost anything. It's a little bit more frequent from bosses. It will only drop if you have an assistant active, so we're not cluttering up people's inventories if they're not engaging with companions. That is going to be rarer than player gear, so it's not, you're not going to be getting it left and right.
I was gonna say it might be a bit
And
annoying
right now,
to have.
purple is the highest tier available for companions because, again, they're distilled versions of the player, and that's going to be relatively rare. But you will be able to go to certain vendors in the world to get white gear, so that you can, if you don't like the default equipment that they're wearing when you unlock them, because they will have some basic equipment when you first get them, you can customize that immediately for, you know, pretty cheap. And then as you start getting more gear and moving into green, blue, and purple, they start getting more and more powerful and more customized to your needs.
A lot of crafting questions. Viewers are asking
anything.
if they can craft the gear. Can they deconstruct the gear?
Kind of
Do we have
sucks
to
that you can't
research
craft it,
traits?
right?
No
there's a
trait
whole fucking
researching,
crafting
no
skill line.
upgrading. There are not item sets.
Why not?
Again, really wanted to have this be the sort of distilled essence of the equipment chase that players experience, but for the companions. So
Yeah, but
it's
some people
there.
spend so
You'll
long
see
on
the
their
difference
crafting skill.
between,
Why not?
you know, the white gear, the green, blue, purple in terms of the impact
It's a
and
starting
the power
point, but
level.
I think being
But it's
able
a
to
little
craft
bit
and
more
upgrade
sort
your
of
own
just
companion's
drag and
equipment
drop,
just makes
slot
sense.
it in and go, and you don't have to worry about some of that overhead.
And the gear can be used for either companion. It's not like Miri has specific gear and Bastian has specific gear, right?
Correct. That's another element of that kind of simplifying, where
Yeah.
you can get the drop.
I don't
and
care
then
about
transfer
grinding
between
gear
them.
myself,
They
but I
do
feel
have their
like
own
that's-
personal styles.
crafting is such a
Companion gear
huge part of the game.
doesn't have a
I'm
style associated
really
with it, so you don't have
surprised
to
they
worry about
didn't
finding
let you craft
the
gear.
exact right style to complement the appearance, assuming you're not using any
It's
of
just
the
all RNG
appearance
otherwise.
customization, which we'll talk about in a minute. So you could take that breastplate, put it on Bastion, and it'll look like his style, and then you can put it on Miri, and it'll look
If
like
you
her
equip
style.
them with player armor, it
A
wouldn't
lot
really
of questions
work.
about inventory.
sets
What
just
about
wouldn't
my
work.
inventory?
Yes.
Because you do have to hold your
'Cause of how they're
companion's gear,
balanced.
right?
You will have to hold your companion's gear. However,
God.
they do have their own paper doll, which holds their actual equipped gear. Again, we're not raining this equipment down on people. This will be relatively uncommon drops in the first place. It'll be a little bit more meaningful when you get like a purple companion item that you might want to sell or care about. But they do not have their own sort of formal inventory on top of your inventory.
Show me some
And
combat.
again, part of that
How
distillation
meaningful
that
is
we didn't
purple
want you to
gear?
have to manage your inventory and your bank and your companion's inventory and
Am
your
I going to have
storage in your
fast
house.
Yeah.
solo
You know?
dungeon runs with purple
I appreciate
geared
that.
companion or what? I don't know. Doesn't mean anything at the moment.
Okay.
Show me combat.
Well, what can we look at next? Some people were asking about mounts. They'd
Oh,
like
yeah.
to see mounts and what kind of customization.
Oh, we
Good
have
question,
we
but show
have
us
all
games
these
and
tabs up
posts.
here we haven't looked at.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I was so happy it was so much fun the first time. I was like, oh my gosh, he's riding with me. And it's kind
Oh.
of cool to be riding along
Yep.
with your companion.
This was a big milestone for us, getting NPCs able to mount up. So going into the customization tab, Gina, you want me to go into this a little bit?
Sure.
All right. So in terms of customizing your companion, we looked at various options for what kind of made the most sense.
I wonder if you can kill
We
them.
settled on costumes, mounts, and outfits. For both
Like
the
if you play a
costumes
tank
and
and your
mounts, you
companion
can do
has
that
less health
directly
and
through
you
this
jump off a
interface.
huge cliff
Any
and you
costume
survive,
that
does
you
your
have
companion
unlocked
die?
for the player, provided that there's nothing locked out because of gender or race, which I don't even know if applies to costumes, but there's certain types of collectibles that do. You can just apply immediately to your companion. doesn't block you out of using it. You can
Dude,
both
if you
use the
could
same
put proc
costume if
gear
you
on
want.
them, you could
switch it whenever you
fucking
want. It
game
doesn't
it
affect
so
any of their
hard.
combat behavior or anything like that. So you can mix and match.
Mary can wear a bath
give her
towel if you want.
bath towel.
I'm not
Oh,
going to say
God.
that I didn't run around with
That's what the
Bastion
chat wants to let me
dressed-
look at the
he was dressed in a
chat.
harem suit. I mean,
Look at
maybe
this.
that happened, maybe it didn't.
That's what the
So
chat
that's kind of a
wanted.
way to give them the full customization
Oh, cute.
override in one shot with your
Yes,
costumes.
please.
You will be able to do the same thing with outfits,
Simps.
where if you want to go a little bit more in depth and create your own perfect look out of all of your outfit collectibles, you'll be able to go to an outfit station, select your companion,
Mhm.
build out the set, and then apply it to them through that overview screen. So that kind of covers their look. So mounts is the other part of this that's really, really exciting. So they'll have their own default mount, which is typically like a plain horse,
horse.
but based on their background. So whatever makes sense for them. But you can go in and override their mount with any of yours. And again, that
Nice.
doesn't lock you out of using yours. It can be any rare mount you may have acquired, any cool mount you want to show
So you
off.
can double
And so
flex.
if you exit the interface
I have
here,
no
Gina,
cool
just
mounts.
mount
I've
up.
not
You'll see
spent any money on the crown
jump on
crates.
yours
Boom.
and
She had to
Jumps
stand on
yours.
it for a second because she's just showing off.
minor bugs getting addressed.
Oh, let's be honest. That is the
that's
best
been in the
bug, and I
game
hope
for
I
a
know.
long
Don't fix it. Don't ever fix it.
But I think it's hilarious. I love it.
it's like circus horse riding. So can
Sometimes
they
you can
both?
run on your horseback.
Did you
It's great.
say that both the player and their companion can be using the same mount?
Absolutely. We didn't
Oh,
want people
twinnies!
100%. We
adorable.
didn't want to lock you out because you gave it to your companion. So that's an option. But you can also go different. You can
Yeah.
have fire and ice or darkness
You've
and
not
light
missed
or
much, to be
whatever
fair
theme
to
that
you.
you want to go with, which is pretty
That
cool.
is fun. I mean, you can definitely twin it up with the outfit and the mount and just
Yes.
ride around.
That's fun. So when everybody's in town and they have their companions out, while people may have the same two companions, they could look very different as far as their mount, their costume.
Well, they're still going to be the exact
The armor
same
they're wearing.
dark
And that's
elf.
what other
Absolutely.
players see, right? Is whatever
yeah.
costume your
Helmets.
companion has on, and
I haven't
Yeah,
seen
if
it
you,
with a
if you run
helmet yet.
across another player in the world with the same, even if it's the same companion, you'll first of all see companion of so and so. It won't say like Bastion. It'll say you've got Bastion. He's got companion of Gina's character or whatever. So that helps. And then any customization that you have applied will show up and be represented.
it's
accordingly.
you can call me mediocre DPS. That's my character name here.
That's your character. A companion of mediocre DPS.
There we go. Also, probably mediocre DPS. A lot of people are asking about mount speed. I think this is not correct.
Not
What everyone's
representative.
saying right now, right?
Correct. We've been doing a lot of work on their pathfinding and following behavior. This is an old build. The current version of them, they speed up much more effectively to maintain and keep up with
They
the
keep up.
player. We'll continue to monitor
teleport
that on
next to you.
PTS if we need to make any
Like the
further
police.
adjustments, but we don't want you to be able to dust your companion. Like they need to keep up with you.
I maxed out earlier, so I will leave Miri in the dust, and maybe that'll
You're
make
like,
her
"See ya,
make her
Miri."
upset. My rapport will go down.
How dare you?
Let's go to
Um,
the bar, Gina.
what-
Oh, I just saw a good question in chat. Do we have
Good
to
night.
unlock the companions for each character separately, or are they unlocked for the account?
Good chat.
So that's a little bit of a complex question. So in
Okay.
order to summon them on alt characters, you will have to do at least the introductory objective, even though you
Okay.
technically unlock the collectible. But most of your progress in terms of combat level,
Thank
skill
God.
unlocking,
Thank
equipment, all of that
God.
will persist. So you don't have to redo that
Oh,
again from
thank
scratch.
God, they did
You will have a
that.
unique rapport
Thank
relationship with
you.
any other characters, which
That
is
makes
good.
sense. Yeah.
But you don't have to do all of that leveling work.
Oh, thank God. That would have been so dry.
Awesome.
go in.
Well, I think
So
one of the
glad they
only
made that
things we
decision.
haven't really looked at or
Good
talked
job.
about in depth is the approval
Can
system
we give her a beer?
and the actions. Jana,
don't
you were
think
telling us a
companions
really
have a
fun
beer, do they?
story earlier about
Disappointed.
was it Bastion?
Yeah, it was Bastion, and this
You know
is,
the one I'm talking about?
Yeah, no, this was actually, I had been playing and working and testing, doing their quests and stuff, and there was a lot of stuff going on, around what I was doing. I'll just call out Rory Fitzgerald, and was part of the team, and he was helping build like the internal brain for the companions and stuff. So a lot of things, came online gradually, and I wasn't always aware. And at some point, they had hooked up the random remarks your companion can make, completely unaware. I go and I went to do something, and I accidentally hit my ultimate, which was, I think, meteor strike or sun strikes or something like that. So it was this big splashy thing, and I think I killed a bunny. It's kind of mean. And I just hear Bastion in this disgusted tone of voice go, "Well, that was a little bit of overkill, wasn't it?" I was like embarrassed, I was like, "Oh, I didn't know we hooked that up." And I was like, but I cracked up, and it was like, yeah, it was overkill, and I felt terrible. I killed it.
That's fantastic.
That's great. In our game.
That's
it makes me feel so bad.
Well done.
So play with your audio on, or at least subtitles.
They literally
you may
like
have
pets,
random
yeah,
remarks.
Taser,
It
that's
sounds
a
like
good
as you go on
example.
adventure. That's great. That'll be a lot of fun surprises to see what they say.
It is, but I also like, and I know if you I play a lot of RPGs, and with companions, sometimes they're very repetitive and frequent.
What I was worried
And
about.
we actually have a setting where you can sort of adjust that as you play with what feels good to you.
Oh, well
Some
done.
people like them super chatty, and some people, maybe just want to be randomly surprised now and again, like I was.
Nice.
Whether they repeat themselves.
I don't think that's in this build, but
constantly.
it'll just be in
Yeah,
the
annoying.
settings gameplay menu, like under escape. So you can switch it to more frequent, less frequent, or just kind of leave it default. So you can manage that a little bit.
I did want to touch on a couple just basics about companions that I see
I'll
a
have
lot
it
of
on
people in
frequent
chat
to
asking
start.
about. They might have missed our initial preview that we did a couple weeks ago, I think. So companions, you can bring them anywhere except PvP and solo arenas. See a lot of people asking, like, can you bring them into Cyrodiil? Can you bring them into Trials? You can bring them into Dungeons and Trials. They take up a player slot. So let's say you have a group of 11. You're short somebody can bring in their companion, and they can fill that spot.
That's
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
they're
you
never
won't
going
have
to.
12.
Go
Go
ahead, Jess.
no way.
I was going to say, you won't have 12 and 12
Right.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah.
in a trial.
Yes.
Yeah, and a companion's never going to really replace a player. Like they're not going to understand, the complex mechanics or
They don't have
the
props.
coordination and communication. You will have some
Their
control
sets
over
are
them,
crap, so it's
but
gonna be
you
useless.
generally still want a player. And so if a player does show up and join your group
What happens if they
and want to
die?
come in, the companion will be suppressed, and the player will join instead.
Yeah, I think one of the things that Rich said in a recent interview is you're probably not going to be doing vet hard modes with companions, even though some people will probably prove him wrong.
You're not getting Godslayer
I mean-
with a group of companions, probably.
Yeah.
I don't, maybe
Yeah.
somebody will figure it out, but
I mean, if you were already doing vet hard modes without a full group, like sure,
Maybe,
you could carry a companion,
solo
but the companion's
vet,
not going to carry
not
you
vet
through
hard,
a
though.
vet
Right.
mode.
Yeah.
and that's not what they're intended for to begin with, right? Yeah, challenge accepted. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not going to
and
replace
then-
I will.
something like
I'm
that.
sorry.
are they?
Go ahead,
I will
Janet.
say though, just traveling with them, a lot of times, and even though I know the content, I'll run into like a boss in a quest or something that I legit can't defeat on my
Just
own
one
on
companion.
a regular character
Sure.
without turning on magical dev commands. And the companion does help. They really genuinely help you.
And
So it is nice to have that.
and companions can die. I see a lot of people asking if they can die. They can.
Yes.
That was
They
my
can.
question.
Yeah,
actually.
not permanently, of course.
Right.
You can resurrect them in battle the same way that you resurrect other players with a soul gem, but also once you complete combat, they'll get up on their own without needing to be manually resurrected.
Mhm.
So that's kind of up to you if it's worth bringing them back in the
Like
middle of battle,
Skyrim.
depending on what you're doing. But you gotta pay attention, and if you find your companion dying a lot, maybe you want to slot them with more heal abilities. Maybe you want to give them like better gear or more defensive gear, or you want to give them a ranged weapon so they hang back a little bit more. You have options to kind of manage that if they're not performing the way that you want.
Just standing there in the AoE like.
Figured I would
Help
just
me.
go and lay a win and do a little mini tour instead of standing there staring at trees.
What were you
Do some
expecting? Why does that
pickpocketing.
disappoint you?
I was.
I think
thinking
it's
about
really
it,
cool. This.
actually.
Do it. Do
I wasn't
it.
expecting
I
that
love
to
how
they
replace
react.
other players.
I don't know if Mary will even.
What were
mind.
you expecting?
Maybe she'll
100%.
praise you.
Warn me before you're going to be a fetching swit.
Oh well.
You
she
can't
did
hear
it in
her, but yeah,
public.
she was like,
She
"Can you
did
warn
it in
me
like
before you do
while
that?"
being detected. Just like 92 gold added
So
to
I can
bounty.
leave you behind when you
Yeah,
get
right. So I
hot.
can run away, please. All right. So, let's talk a little bit about
Thanks for the 100 bits,
companions
Jonathan. Thank you, mate.
in combat.
Thanks very
Let me
much.
go back outside.
Yeah,
real quick.
show us some combat.
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to watch an
Maybe show it a little
overland
bit.
boss.
Because you can control them a little bit.
There's a
which is
couple
pretty
of bosses
helpful.
that I've struggled with.
Right,
Some
you've
characters.
got kind of
overland
the
bosses.
strategic planning up front, where you're deciding what abilities they have, what equipment they're wearing, what weapons they're using. But in the middle of combat, you can guide them to some extent. Again,
I think the
we
best
didn't want
use is
this
a
to
healer
be
or a
some
tank. Probably a
super
tank most of the
complex,
time.
system of
3%
micromanagement.
reduction damage gear.
We saw that
Oh,
one
for
coming.
God's sake. Just take it.
Hello.
Take it.
Away.
There.
This is a lot.
Oh,
But you can use the existing pet commands, which are already in place for combat pets, but they will apply to companion as well. So on keyboard, if you hold Y and left click on a target out in the world,
We'll do it up here.
you can just send your
Oh, you can
companion
tell them to
directly into
attack.
battle
That's
before you
amazing.
even attack yourself if you want.
Fantastic.
There she goes. See, I just
She's-
sent her.
Yep.
She's
And then if you want to
whipped.
have her
She's
back
inside
off,
the bar.
hold
Oh
Y
my
and right
God,
click,
okay.
and she'll
Ooh,
kind of
she's
bounce
using
out
her
of there and come back
abilities?
to you. You might need
Yep.
to.
Yeah.
there you go.
Okay. Why is she? Oh, she's running back.
And if
'cause
you're in
Gina
battle
told
with
her
multiple
to.
targets, if you do a heavy attack,
Oh, she's
on a different
not
target than
attacking
the
on
companion's
purpose.
engaged with,
Interesting.
they will switch to that target. So a little bit of organic option, a little bit of a direct control.
Her health
option.
went down
And then
considerably,
you will have
considering
some
that was
options
just a
with their
bear.
ultimate as well, where by default, once you unlock their ultimate, they're going to use it whenever it's full and available and conditions are met. But if you'd rather have more control over that, you can turn off their use of their ultimate automatically and then tell them when you want them to try to use it. They'll still
James,
need
this
to be in
weekend,
a
another
valid
Skyrim
situation
live
for
stream
them
for
to
you.
do so, but that's an option.
Let's
Now,
do
what
it.
is the option on console? I saw people asking because it's Y and left click on keyboard, but you can also do it on console too.
Correct. Gamepad, I believe it is left and right stick along with left and right bumper.
It'll be in the patch notes
so
too. We have it in there.
It'll be in the patch notes,
Yep.
correct. And heavy
Um,
attack works in both cases.
I saw somebody
I've-
asking, are they
I get-
basically just like a DPS bot? But you can make them a healer. You can have them
Oh,
tank.
I think they're
Like
going to
if
be
you need a
neutral
little bit
as
of help
healer or
healing, you
tank.
can spec your
You'll do
companions
so
so
much more
they
DPS
heal
than
you
they'll ever be
and
able
heal
to do.
themselves.
Yeah, you could make them a glass cannon if you want, but if they're dead half the time, they're not doing any DPS.
They might not move out of
So
AoE and stuff
you
like
can
that.
mix and match.
Don't know if
They have
AI is that
taunts.
smart.
They have abilities you can unlock that provide synergies. They have various types of heals. We really tried to go as wide as possible with the options there, and you can see in the bottom right hand corner that Mary just got some experience from you killing. That's another thing to call out because I've seen people asking about that, where when you kill something and the companion gets a share, that's not
Keep helping us
being
out.
taken away from the player.
Right.
That is a bonus share, bonus cut that they're getting a piece of. So there's no downside to the
Mhm.
player
What does that mean?
utilizing them in that way.
Sounds like, why even have that?
Somebody just
get it.
joined the stream. They're like, you can talk to them? Sure can.
Lol.
Absolutely.
Throughout the stream, we've been seeing one of
Literally.
the more common questions that we've been getting ever since we announced them, which is, can we marry them? Can we romance them? And I know we've answered that a few different places. Did you want to talk about that briefly?
Sure. Yeah. For launch, there's no romance. There's no
Good.
pledging of Mara to your companions or anything like that. We really wanted to focus on
It will never be
getting
done
the
in the
fundamentals
way
of the
that you
system in
want it to be
place.
done anyway.
We see rapport as a system that we can continue to grow over time and shares a lot of elements with other systems like that. We want to get some feedback on this. We want to evaluate how people are interacting with it. We want to see how it plays out, and then again, like all of our systems, we want to be able to grow it
I can
over
hear
time.
Gina's
and
Discord
we know
messages.
that is a very requested feature to explore with
Yes.
the future
Mhm.
with future companions in the system.
Mary
Probably
from
leave
romance,
that
I'm okay
request.
with that. Mate,
Yeah.
you're not even meta.
Both
Stop asking so hard.
internally as well. Believe me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
It's definitely come up internally as well. But we at some point we need to focus on are all the pieces of the system working? Is everything working smoothly together? We didn't want to overreach and then have something that people were like, well, technically you have romance, but it's disappointing or something like that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that was literally one of the
Do you
things
know
I
off the top of your
raised
head, Phil,
when I
what the
first heard
average
about them
DPS
doing
is
that.
for like a max level companion?
So some of that is still in balance.
It's not going to be as
I don't
high
wanna
as a
necessarily
player,
commit
guys.
to
It's not going to
anything
be like
exactly.
50k
That's fair.
DPS.
And
It sounds
there's a
player
lot of-
testable, right? That's Rich's favorite.
It is player testable.
and we are going to PTS, so I'm sure we'll
yeah.
get some feedback
I'm
there
sure
too.
they will
Yeah.
test it.
For sure. I want to
You're
say
not going to push.
off
They're,
the
they're
cuff,
not
it's
going to be
probably gonna end up
animation
somewhere
canceling
between, like, 5 and
companions with
10K
timers, are they?
DPS if you are
Come on.
really optimizing and coordinating with them. So they're not nothing, but they're not going to destroy a DPS focused high level player,
Literally.
which again was not the intent.
Yeah, I know there was some concern when he initially announced this that these would replace players
Right.
in a lot of situations, and
the AI
it
is
sounds
not
like
that
that
good. We are
that
safe.
really won't be the case,
And-
and they're more there to kind of, like you said, fill the gaps. Like I remember I went to a public dungeon in Clockwork City, I think, sometime last year, and there was this one boss that I got down to a sliver of health, but I just couldn't finish him off. And having a companion would help with that.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
again, part of it is
That's
complementary, right? Where if you're running around as a
Makes
DPS
everything more
and
accessible.
maybe you feel like you're dying a little too often because you can't take the hits, well, maybe you can have a
That's
companion
what they
that's a
should be there
healer
for.
or a tank to kind of give you
Perfect.
that
Well done.
ability to focus your efforts a little bit more.
What's
and
the best
become
class
more of
right
that
now?
glass cannon you always
Easy
wanted to be.
sorcerer.
Or if you're a tank like me
Nah, I didn't
running
play a
around, where
sorcerer.
I can solo world bosses, it just takes me half an hour, right?
Yeah.
That's not a lot of fun. But if I have a DPS to help me out, I can potentially burn that down significantly faster.
It's nice. I'm a wimp, and I
Same
like
if
to
I
stay
have a
ranged,
healer on my DPS,
so
I
having
can
my
solo
companion run up with a
some of
hammer
the
has
world
been very
bosses in
helpful.
Skyrim.
And tank for you, exactly. And then as your character grows and as you evolve as a player, you can change those things up to suit your needs.
Do you know if companions will use synergies?
They will not consume synergies, but certain abilities in their skill list will provide synergies.
Cool.
That's a good question.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw a number of people asking. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
we
find
don't
another...
want your companion jacking the synergies of your group before you can use them.
Literally.
This rock is
Especially
too
for
big.
things.
I'll go around.
But
it.
I don't want to end up in a dungeon where I've got
Oh my
like
gosh, there's so many times when I'm
you
playing.
know
and I'm
3
like, I just want
players
to go over
and
here.
then another
and-
person's companion
No, I have
because
to
I know
roll.
it would be a long dungeon. You know,
do
if
the,
we're doing it
uh,
on
do
vet
the
or
long tour
something.
here. You know, I do see people in chat asking to open the map. The map isn't finished. It doesn't really show much of anything, so not
No,
just not going to open
just
it.
no.
Sorry,
Not yet.
and it's
Fair
bound to a
enough.
different key, so I didn't accidentally open it and show a bunch of nothing. So, and you know, again, this is on a pretty old build. It's on an internal server, so a lot
This
of
does give me the feel of
the,
Oblivion though, just what she's
world
walking through
buildings
right
and
now, which
completely
is cool.
done. You know, there's not a lot of monsters. I'm looking for one, and I think I'm just in an area that hasn't been finished yet.
She's
So
near.
we'll just take a
Yeah,
little tour of
everybody's-
the area.
Everybody's been super hard at work for
Mm-hmm.
the last several months, including the last month is always the kind of the hectic trying to get everything as polished and clean and
Yep.
fleshed out as possible.
I'm
Now
also
that we've
right
got
next
all
to
the
the
core
temple.
Oh,
systems in
dude,
place.
such nostalgia.
All right. So yeah, again, for anybody who maybe didn't see the UI earlier, here, actually, I've had Miri out for a while. Let's hang out with Bastion for a
No,
minute.
who gives a shit about Bastion?
They cannot wear
mate?
helmets, right? Isn't that a...
You can equip them with helmets, but they're not going to display. This was again one of those elements of trying to
No,
balance
make them display,
letting
otherwise
you customize
everyone
them
looks
to a
the
large degree, but
same.
still allowing them to retain some identity, so they're not.
No,
kind of
because
just
otherwise we have like
you know,
100
all the time in the
bastions
background.
everywhere.
I think I believe that too.
Why would you want to cover that handsome face, may I ask?
Cover it.
Janet loves Bastion.
I'd
I
cover
love him.
whatever her name is face as well.
So see, I have a better rapport
I'll
with
put
him than I
that
did
monster
with Mary.
helm on
Oops.
her.
So at launch for Blackwood, chapter that's coming out in June, there are 2 companions. It's the 2 that we've shown off today, Bastion and Miri. So you get those by completing a quest, right?
They each have their own quests.
Future DLC will probably have more companions. I don't think
Yeah,
they'll go
Jen, I don't know if you want to
backtrack
talk
and
about
add
the
them to the
specific
base
objectives,
No.
so people know where to start.
Well, I talked
Which is a
about
pity, because I
Doomscore, which
think
is
it would help
Bastion's,
people. For sure.
and Miri's is...
Might add them to the crown
I cannot
story.
pronounce it. Vulcanaz,
Like
Some-
Doom Vault, Volpanaz, or something.
something like that.
We need to
Yeah.
get Lehman on here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one's at the north end of the zone, and one's at the south end of the zone.
Right. And that is where you encounter Miri, and I apologize because the names sometimes change before we get to the end of the run, and
Sup, dude?
I have not learned to pronounce that particular one yet. And you encounter her on in a bit of a jam with her group, which she had been signed on to.
Now, dude, Janet
with,
has done a great
you know,
job on the
help these,
followers. Don't
this
disrespect
group
Janet,
of
all right?
scholars or something, and turns out
Doing a good job.
it's oh my
That
they were
God,
quite
what is
a
that?
so you have a rather fun adventure
Change
with
it.
Yuri,
No.
sort of helping her rescue her cohorts.
He looks like a major
That looks
look.
stunning.
midlife crisis.
Good look. Did you give him the tattoos?
No, he has his own tattoo.
Oh, he has his
had
own?
'em, Yep.
Oh, sick. Okay.
Oh, nice.
That's
What's
the
that?
secret side to Bastion.
That sounds like there's a story involved. Okay.
He had that one
Okay.
drunk night out, like a hot tub time machine.
It's
Or...
definitely
It
above
might have been the
hang
designer. Might have been the designer preference. I'm like, I really like
He
tattoos.
just wants some tattoos on him. Why not? Why not?
Soy
All right,
boy.
well, I think we've shown off everything that we. Passion, be quiet, please. Goodbye. Sheesh.
If you
Talking
consume
over
food,
me,
does it
rude.
change your size? No, but there's one giant cheese
So,
quest in Skyrim that does.
Did
in
we?
the Elder Scrolls
Did we
Online.
cover everything? I think we did. We had a lot of things.
Yeah,
feel
and
like they
even if
didn't.
we
I've
didn't,
got, like,
PTS
7
is
more
next week, and
questions.
I'm sure that people will be streaming their adventures with companions,
For
and
sure.
more info will come out about them.
Yeah, there's a big system that we didn't get into a lot of the little details of,
I
them
agree,
reacting
mobs,
to
they covered
individual
that.
things throughout the world or player actions. There's a lot to discover and a lot to kind of grow through here.
For sure.
They also have their own non-combat perks that you have while they're active, and there may be a way to unlock those permanently. There's a lot to kind of discover as you play with the system.
Okay.
I would be
Awesome.
amiss not to ask the question that everyone's spamming right now. Can companions become a werewolf or a vampire?
Ooh. No.
Not currently, not for launch.
Okay.
I bet they'll have
But you
like
still can. You
specific
can live your
companions
dreams
in
as a
future
werewolf or a
that'll be
vampire.
like the werewolf companion or the vampire
Good question.
companion.
Character bound
And
or
they'll be on the
account
Crown
bound for
store and future
companions?
DLC. I guarantee you that.
So companions are collectibles. So this kind of
Yeah.
ties into the earlier question where once you unlock them, the collectible is there and present. It will restrict you from activating it on other characters that haven't done the introductory objective, because the idea is that each character has their own relationship with the companion,
Mhm.
but the companions have their own kind of growth curve otherwise. So again, you'll get
So
to
your
keep any
skill
levels and
progress is
stuff that you
shared, which I
advanced
like.
on your other characters.
It's not like you
but
have to
can
do
see
the
all that in the
Fighters
collection
Guild on
screen.
every individual character.
Yeah,
Sounds convenient.
There are so many questions about this, and remember, this is going to PTS on Monday, so you'll be able to read more about them in the patch notes. You'll be able to hop on the PTS and give it a try if you're not able to do so. Lots of people, I'm sure, will be streaming their adventures with
I wonder
companions.
if they
and
change
can try
anything from
everything out.
PTS. It's not.
See
It's
how
only
it
like a
feels.
month
I know
until
we're
it goes
excited
live.
to see everybody's feedback on this.
Yeah, werewolf rip. Yeah.
And this kind of
They'll have
kicked
a-
off our companions content. We'll have more coming up. Web content, video. So just keep an eye out over the next couple weeks.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that, thank you, Phil and Jennifer, joining us on our stream today.
Yes, thank you both.
That's
Thank
a lot
you
of
This was
fun.
a lot of fun.
We went through a lot, and there's still a lot that everybody can discover with companions and
I'm
with
very
the chapter,
quiet. It's because I want to
honestly.
let them speak.
Yeah, we're
just
we're
because-
unbelievably excited. We're unbelievably proud of what we've been able to do with this. The team.
It is very interesting, and I'm excited to see how it goes. I think they have answered quite a few questions on this stream, though, and I kind of just wanted to sit here with you guys and get your verdict. They're essentially like pets with their own personality that you can form relationships with, which seems really interesting. I don't really know how those relationships are going to affect gameplay. Like, it was said, like, if a companion doesn't like you, then they can just leave you and not be friends with you. But then you can, there's like a limit on, they're not going to just remove the ability for you to have that companion in the future. There's going to be like, after an amount of time, you'll be able to go back and get them as a companion again. But obviously there's like, the male companion doesn't like stealing. So my character likes to steal everything. So I'm obviously going to use the female one because she does like stealing. But I don't know what positive things come from having a positive relationship with the companion, what advantages you might get.
Be on the lookout. And thanks to everybody for joining
you
us
all.
today. We're going to raid, I think, one of our new stream team members. So we recently added
I'm
3
on
new
Twitch.
streamers to the stream team.
They're not raiding me. though.
Yes. Let's
Oof.
do
We
it.
have
Big
Pain in the
oof,
Axe
guys.
and Bra. We got this. Who do you want to raid?
Brah, we
Phil or
got
Janet?
this. With a name like that,
should
you
we
gotta
raid
raid
today?
that guy.
Y'all can pick.
You can pick, no pressure.
We got this.
Bro,
All
we
right.
got this.
Works for
Yeah,
me.
it's just
All
the
right.
name is so
He's
good,
actually
isn't it?
watching our stream right now, so
Oh, so he's
So,
gonna get
um,
some warning.
Sorry.
Stream
It's
wish,
gonna
session.
I wish
happen.
we could watch
It is
him
gonna
react
happen.
to that.
all right.
Yes. Have a
Thanks
great
again,
week,
click that,
everybody.
right?
Don't forget to claim your
Thanks,
Twitch drops.
folks.
If you haven't yet, you have to go to twitch.tv/drops in order to claim, and then you could get.
I don't think we can backtrack through this stream, but
And have
I
a great
think
weekend.
it was a good stream, though I still have quite a few questions. We want Lydia, literally. I said that earlier. Like, I was playing Skyrim and I was like, if they add Lydia back to this, that would be insanely good. It's ESO. It is me. Imagine that. Lydia isn't born yet. No, but I feel like we need a character like her. You know, we need like the War Maiden. That's just sarcastic now and again. That's just to carry your stuff. You know, they didn't actually talk about carry weight, but I feel like that should be something that they actually add to the game because I feel like it's super relevant. What do you guys think of companions? Like, gut feeling, what do you think? Are you a fan? Raid ESO? No, they won't raid me. I'm not part of the stream team. Oddly enough, you can apply to the stream team. I don't know who this guy is.
Oh my gosh, so many follows now.
Oh, this is the guy they're raiding. Okay, cool. Yeah, so you don't do Twitch, sorry. No worries, dude. What's your Twitch? It's ESO Danny, I believe. Yeah, no, I'm excited for this update though. I think it's going to be good. I think just going back to like a portion of Oblivion before the Oblivion Crisis, obviously with the reproduction of the Oblivion Crisis, because the whole storyline of Blackwood is that Marinus Dagon is trying to invade Tamriel again. I think he's tried 4 or so times, bless him, but failed each time. Love your videos. Thank you so much, dude. Thank you for the subscription, the resubscription for 2 months now. Thank you so much, dude. Iron Banner Games doesn't. Lydia doesn't exist until 600 years or so from ESO. Yeah, because the Elder Scrolls Online is based in the 2nd era. Skyrim is based in the 4th era. So, yeah, obviously, she doesn't exist yet. But she's just such a memorable character in that sense. I feel Tank Companion with DD Plate Order Ring is the way to go. Well, you can't give them gear. You can only give them the companion gear. So, like, the tank gear was like 3% damage reduction. And considering mobs are hitting you for 3k, that's going to be a lot better than some of the other sets they were showing. Just seems so mediocre. Like 3% cooldown reduction on abilities, which is kind of useless, right? Because like you're talking about 3% cooldown reduction on an ability that's like 10 seconds or less. So 3% is nothing. I'd rather have 3% on damage reduction, because that means that mobs attacking me with like hitting me for like 1 to 10k or something, you know, that's going to be a considerable reduction on my companion versus a cooldown reduction. I'd rather them be more survivable. I think your follower being a bullet sponge is going to be the most effective thing versus your follower or healing. I don't know how healing is yet. I've not looked at the numbers on that, but DPS is going to be useless. Like your follower or companion isn't going to be animation canceling. They're not going to be wearing proc sets or all this other stuff. Like, so compared to a real human being playing the game with you, their DPS numbers are going to be laughable. So it's going to be much better to have them as a tank or I don't know about healers, but it'll be interesting. I am glad I'm a warden, always a party of 3. Hell yeah, dude. Nothing like having a big furry boy with you all the time. We know Serrano was locked away mid-late 2nd era, and ESO, yeah, well, that would, I mean, lore-wise, they could bring her back, right? Where was Serrano's grave again? It was actually in a zone they've not yet uncovered, right? So that could definitely be something they do for sure. You're getting the DLC on Monday. I mean, the release date is pretty soon, right? In fact, guys, let me just Because the Elder Scrolls Online, another thing I kind of want to talk to you guys about. Let's just do this live. Why not? ESO also released Endeavors. Now, essentially, one of the things I usually hate about video games is the fact that they have loot boxes. But with the Elder Scrolls Online, the loot boxes have always been cosmetic. You can get like potions and food buffs and stuff, but it's literally crap compared to the stuff you can craft. So it's not pay to win at all. So I was always interested how the Crown Store has like lots of cosmetic things you can essentially buy. But now they're adding something called Endeavors, which is basically the ability for people who don't have money to play the game and earn Endeavors, which is a new currency that you can use to buy crown crates or like get crown gems and the cosmetic mounts and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys. The way the economy works with MMOs and in games like this is it's always going to be that if you were to go and get a real job and work for 1 hour of even minimum wage, then you're going to be able to pay the money for faster in that time frame to get the same amount of crowns than it would take you to earn those Endeavors through gameplay. We don't, because Endeavors aren't out yet, we don't know how that currency system would work. But I think it's really, really consumer friendly that ZeniMax are offering a way for players, especially because when I was younger, I didn't have any money, but I had a lot of time. So I would be, using this kind of thing to get those cosmetic rewards. And they're now giving players access to that, which never existed before, which kind of removes, even though they were just mainly cosmetics, it was never pay to win. And I'll argue against anyone who says it was. Anyone who thinks it's pay to win doesn't understand the Elder Scrolls Online. But I think this is very pro-consumer. And I don't know if they're only allowed to do this now because they're now working with Xbox. But I think this is really good for the game. Is ESO pay to win? No, not at all. Not in the slightest. I mean, I guess the only way you could slightly argue that ESO was pay to win is because like some of the downloadable content gives you access to some features that they've added over the years with DLC that you would have to buy with crowns that you'd get free. You get crowns for free for a subscription anyway, so it's kind of really easy to get this DLC. But like some of the content within that DLC, like you have better sets, better armor sets, better weapons and stuff like that. But it's kind of like DLC that's been added over the space of several years. So it's almost like, say for example, if you play Skyrim and you're like, oh, this really cool weapon exists in the Dawnguard DLC, it's almost like saying that's pay to win. It's just not, is it? Like it's extra content that's added to the game. So I don't really consider that to be pay to win, but I guess that's a matter of perspective. Some people disagree with me. Check the description for 67% off. Yes, that's right, LatorTazor. You can get a percentage off the base game right now and the DLC and Greymore as well. And if you buy, I think, if you pre-order the Elder Scrolls Online Blackwood, they actually give you all the previous DLC for free. So, but before you jump on that, I recommend actually just playing the base game for like $5, or I think it's like $10, £5 you can get it for on the link below. Play that, see if you actually like it, because it's an MMO, it's very different to Skyrim, and then based on that, see if you actually want to play it, and then maybe pre-order the DLC if it's what you want to experience. But guys, I'm going to end this stream here. Thank you so much for the subscriptions and donations this stream, guys. Really do appreciate it. If anyone's getting started on YouTube, I actually made a video on the main channel. If you just check out the channel content where I go over how I grew a secret new channel from 0 subscribers and 0 views to 5 million views. Subscribers don't actually matter anymore, guys. And I explain how I did that and how you can make captivating content yourself. So I definitely recommend checking it out if you're getting started on YouTube. And $8 USD for a game, yeah, I mean, definitely worth checking out for that price for sure. But guys, I will end the stream here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. It was lovely to have a little live stream with you guys and just get your opinion on what you think about the new companion system. So I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.